Okay. Have you or anyone you know been affected by the closings?
Most of us have been living on a ranch for our whole life, and I can't see myself living somewhere else.
If you could talk to the people who made these decisions, what might you say?
I'd probably ask them what they're planning on doing to keep the invasive species down with grazing, because the elk won't keep them down, and using goats for grazing costs a lot of money per acre.
Yeah.
People don't realize how important the ranches are to this community, and all these people are being forced to leave their homes, and it's just really sad. It's really sad.
For more than 150 years, cattlemen have been working the area around Point Reyes. But then in 1962, they made it a national park, and that's when things got a little complicated.
Why should American taxpayers subsidize private ranching on the public land of a national park?
Environmentalists criticize the National Park Service for its management of a Tule elk reserve at Tamales Point in western Marin County.
This raises a lot of questions, including questions about the future of ranching in the park.
You want to look into the canyon here and make sure there's no cows down below us over here? We have 4 generations of our family on the ranch working together. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful lifestyle. This is the only home address I've ever had. The Point Reyes Peninsula is dotted with some small ranches. Each one of these are around 1,000 acres. And these are small family farms. This is not big agriculture here. This is exactly where most people would like their food to come from. But there's a movement now to remove people off the landscape. And a lot of these people that want to get rid of us are the ones that say, oh, we want to eat local and we want to eat organic. When the National Seashore was established in the early 1960s, it was a great experiment that contemplated the continuation of agricultural use in Point Reyes. Congress recognized that preservation the ranchers had done over the last century was important. So they saw no reason to remove the ranches. And that was an agreement made between Congress and the landowners that they could continue their way of life. For about the last 2 decades, there has been pressure to undo that agreement. We're a small agrarian-based community, and this idea to remove agriculture from Point Reyes, it kind of pulls us apart. And the people that are driving this are so far removed they don't even know where we are. Yeah, I think we can turn them out.
I moved to Marin 10 years ago. My field work in Yellowstone National Park was looking at elk management and conflicts between the National Park Service and ranchers. Between 2012 and 2014, hundreds of elk died at Point Reyes National Seashore. Elk at the northern end of the peninsula were behind a fence that prohibited them from traveling in search of forage or water or anything like that because they would compete with the commercial ranching operations in the seashore. Our organization wanted to question the National Park Service's management of resources that are essentially held in public trust for everybody and say, like, what are the justifications for doing these things, and how does that align with the directive of the National Park Service to leave resources unimpaired for future generations?
Cuando está uno joven, creo que no piensa viajar a Estados Unidos. Simplemente escucha los comentarios de que es muy bonito, de que puedes tener carro, puedes tener una bicicleta, una moto, una casa, algo grande, ¿no? La primera vez llegamos aquí en California, llegamos al área de Peasley, cerca de Fresno. Las primeras semanas me sentí muy mal, quería regresarme a mi país. Donde vivíamos antes, mi hijo estaba sufriendo el bullying en la escuela. Mi esposo miró oportunidad diferente y ya después le ofrecieron trabajo en una lechería. Puedo decir que fue la mejor decisión vernos movido aquí a esta área de Point Reyes. O sea, es una área donde siento que te apapacha, ¿no? Te sientes confortable, sientes calidez. Mi trabajo es de limpieza de casas. Cuando estoy trabajando y que toca los fines de semana, mi esposo me ayuda, mis hijos me ayudan, entonces aportan bastante. Bueno, nosotros ahorita en el área que vivimos es uno de los ranchos. Nosotros ahorita nos sentimos confundidos y estresados, podría ser la palabra correcta. Yo de mi parte quiero estar aquí, no me quiero mover.
Hello, welcome to beautiful Point Reyes. I'm Congressman Jared Huffman, and I really appreciate this incredible turnout for an important conversation. There's no doubt that this settlement is a new chapter in the long-running saga of this seashore. There are big changes. 11 multi-generational ranching families are leaving. The Nature Conservancy will be responsible for much of the management of the vacated lands, and the Grayton tribe will play a greater role in co-managing the seashore going forward. And I'm going to acknowledge that it will present some challenges.
And none of you came and talked to none of the workers out there. How come? No, but I never talked yet. My voice, I live out there. Jared, I live out there. My life matters, man. You have a home to go to. We don't. In 15 months, bro. 15 months.
And I just want to say it is very apparent that the Latino community was an afterthought even to this event. A lot of the residents who live on ranches are outside. We just knew about this event last night. I'm just wondering if you all have a plan for a workforce after the residents who live on ranches have to be evicted and you lose everyone who works at the grocery stores and makes your food.
entered into this shaking hands with the Nature Conservancy and appreciating this, and at the same time having the deepest sorrow you could ever imagine. I want to hear from Chance. What sacrifice have you made? I want to really hear the give and take.
12 ranches will be departing within the next 15 months. We'll see 17,000 acres of the National Seashore transition from commercial agriculture to a more natural and scenic landscape zone. The Tule elk will roam across the entirety of the Point Reyes Peninsula. These battles have been playing out park by park, and this is one of the complexities that come with the government trying to create these institutions for the purpose of conservation. But if we don't make a transition smooth for the tenants that call Point Reyes home, that will be an absolute failure. I still wonder, is there a better way that could have been approached with all the folks at the table?
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Tanto tiempo sin verte.
Están por cerrar varios de los ranchos. Ya se tomó la decisión de que ya se van a cerrar los ranchos. Estamos teniendo muchos problemas porque no nada más es una familia, somos muchas familias que estamos dentro de los ranchos. Creo que en esto debemos de pensar y profundizar. Sin estas familias yo creo que afectaría bastante toda la área de aquí. Mi esposo está trabajando dentro del rancho. Si esta familia es removida, yo ya no voy a trabajar en casas. Mi hijo trabaja en Tobis, sería un trabajador menos de Tobis también. Mi hijo está en la escuela, sería un estudiante menos. Entonces esto nos lleva a que nada más solamente estoy hablando de una familia que es mi familia. Me siento decepcionada de las decisiones que se dieron y realmente porque no nos tomaron en cuenta a las personas que estamos viviendo dentro de los ranchos. ¿Qué vamos a hacer?
There is this question about whether you can be an environmentalist who also cares about people and communities. And the answer is, of course, you can be. In this case, the environmentalists believed that there was an out-of-balance situation in the parks. The impact on the environment was more than it should be. Okay, well, what can we do to pull that back? And the outcome was ranching would continue, but certain improvements needed to be made. That was the balance struck. But the environmentalists were like, it's not enough. We want it all. So that sense of balance is thrown aside. It's all been done behind closed doors under confidentiality agreements by keeping it secret. The National Park Service were able to keep people like me on the sidelines for long enough to get it done. And so I just decided, not happily, that I couldn't save agriculture in the park. The goal that I have is to preserve the housing. If this is now going to happen, and if people can retain a place to live in West Marin, that's important because there's not enough housing in West Marin right now. We are not very broad-minded about every stakeholder that should be consulted. And this is especially true, unfortunately, about the immigrant community.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Rosa Rodríguez, soy una inmigrante. Al cruzar la frontera, me enfrenté en un camino lleno de incertidumbre. Algunas no llegaron. Llegamos sin dinero, sin ropa. La vida fue pesada, fue difícil. Para mí no sabía si esta área era buena o no. Gracias a Dios Y a las personas que están aquí, estamos aceptados. No por ser migrante, no puedes hacer las cosas. Y que no nos podemos poner trabas. Todos tenemos derecho a ser libres y a estar confortables en la área que estemos.
This was a managed landscape for centuries. The Native Americans used fire regularly. They knew when to burn to keep fire fuels down. That's what preserved this grassland. Grazing has replaced fire for the most part. All these small ranches have been here for a very long time, all established between around 1850 and 1870. Our family got here in the mid-1940s. My grandfather owned a dairy and fell in love with the ranch. And I always remember growing up as one of 6 kids where we were all needed. We all had a job. If we were small, we could help feed calves. If we were older, we might be able to work in the barn where milking was happening. The challenge we have to face is starting to settle in. And that is to unwrap ourselves from this beautiful place and these resources we love.
Oh boy. It's just gonna be so hard to leave this place, I can't tell you.
Aportamos bastante. Y no nada más los adultos, sino también ya parte de los hijos. Ahora sí se tiene que notar la comunidad, ¿no? Nuestros padres yo creo que nos han enseñado buenas cosas y yo creo que lo principal es ayudar a tener no nada más para ti, sino para los demás y no ser egoísta. Mi única esperanza ahorita hasta el momento en lo que podamos conservar nuestros hogares o simplemente de que si hay algo mejor, algo que podamos estar seguros como familia. Más tienen que conocer la situación de nosotros. Yo creo que esto puede llegar a suceder en cualquier momento, en cualquier situación y en cualquier área. Y ahora nos tocó a nosotros. Realmente no podemos detener el paso del tiempo.